What's going on, everyone? I hope you guys are staying warm after our first snowstorm of the season on the East Coast. I want to say, happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. Hope you guys managed to get your holiday shopping done. Hope that the malls weren't too chaotic, and that your deliveries from Amazon are arriving on time. I should say. As normal, I just want to thank everyone who's watched the previous episodes of the podcast and given a like or a little feedback. It really means a lot to me. Today's episode is pretty straightforward. It's called accountability. I think that's something in today's society that we don't do enough is hold people accountable for their actions or their words. Excuse me. Uh, Especially people in positions of power, whether it's a CEO or in most cases a politician. The people that I really like to hold accountable and just have them come clean and be honest for once is the Republican Party. The party that says they don't believe in identity politics, that practices the most identity politics, a party that claims to be about Christian values, but they're anything but that. They believe more so in white nationalist Christian values, which aren't Christian at all, if you ask anyone with common sense. It's more about fear mongering and xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, racism, sexism, and even classification, if you really want to be honest. They don't get people to vote for anything. It's more like you're voting against something. They incite their base with fear mongering, saying, these black and brown people are moving into the suburbs and coming into the country and stealing your jobs. And if you let the Democrats have their way, your kid's gonna be transgender. The minorities are gonna move into the suburbs. Daughter's gonna get knocked up and need an abortion. I mean, none of it's based on any facts whatsoever, and just absolutely preposterous. But that's how they like to operate. And I think it's just time to come clean and just fess up and say that you know nothing about the Bible. You overlook the First Amendment and go right to the Second and only read part of that because it mentions a militia. You never mention that part. I mean, it's clear as day. I mean, Ray Charles can see that you're not based on any Christianity whatsoever, and he's blind and dead for that matter. I mean, you talk about abortion rights and gay marriage, and meanwhile overlook the fact that the person who's pretty much controlling your party is being indicted on several charges for classified documents and trying to steal an election and inciting a riot on the Capitol. Not to mention that he's cheated on every single wife. You have someone like Matt Gaetz, which was being investigated for, I believe, child pornography. Didn't hear anything about that really. So I mean, it's just time to be held accountable. Just fess up. Just admit that you believe in this hateful rhetoric. The fact that you have people like Lauren Boebert and like Marjorie Taylor Greene in your party, it just speaks for itself. And what makes it even more evident is you nominated Herschel Walker. Uh, I mean, the fact that that race even went to a runoff to begin with is just blasphemy. You have Raphael Warnock, who is the pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, the same church that Martin Luther King preached at, PhD in psychology, and then you have Herschel Flippin Walker, who's literally the epitome of every negative connotation that white people have towards blacks. He's not intelligent, that's observant. He's not articulate, that's clear as day. He doesn't take care of his kids, and he lies excessively. But yet somehow you guys felt comfortable to nominate him and endorse him and campaign for him. And it's like, really? You speak against Obama and Warnock and Abrams, but you endorse this guy. Why? Because you can control him? Because he's a puppet, a token black guy, a sellout, a coon, which he embraced being called a coon, which I don't know how you do that. So just fess up. It wasn't about trying to prove to the people that the Republican Party isn't racist, which it clearly is. It was about, look, hey, we have a black friend, which proves that you're racist. I mean, before recently, you didn't have too many Republican women in office, and then the squad came around with AOC and Omar and Tlaib and Presley, and then you figured, oh, we gotta try and compete with them, so we'll just nominate more middle-aged women. I mean, you don't care about anything but gaining power, and then you try to hide behind the Bible, which is just a joke. You try to hide behind these values which are inciting hatred, like anti Semitism, but you really don't denounce anything like any of those things. Sorry. I mean, it's irresponsible, it's reckless, it's, like I always say, dangerous on many levels. I mean, it's just a joke. Just, stop trying to hide behind this quote unquote fake rhetoric, this halfway Christian rhetoric. Like Big Daddy Kane said, there ain't no half stepping. Because if you're going to be about it and talk about it, you got to represent to the full extent. I mean, Jesus did say in Matthew to love thy neighbor. There was no footnote or asterisk behind that. There weren't exceptions to that rule. It was unconditional love to everyone. But yet somehow you guys pick and choose. And it's just ridiculous. I mean, just fess up. It is time for you to be held accountable towards your decisions, your words, your actions, your empty promises, your hypocritical laws that you try to pass. I mean, it's enough is enough. I mean, you're getting to the point where people are disenfranchised and don't want to vote at all. And it's sad. I mean, again, the fact that we had a runoff in Georgia with someone who was clearly not qualified just shows that people are only going to vote with someone with an R behind their name, or that wears a red tie because they're quote unquote Republican, but overlook all the transgressions and all the sins that they commit. So it's not about Christianity at all, or what right is right. They always like, oh well, he confessed, or he repented, which is complete baloney. You need to hold your candidates, your delegates, your representatives accountable for their transgressions. And I say the same thing about the Democratic Party too. But I don't see any candidate from Democrats paying for abortions and then saying they're anti abortion. I don't see any carpetbaggers really for the Democratic Party. I see that with the Republican Party, though. I mean, and it's just nonsense. It is ridiculous. It is time to raise your game and just, step it up. Time to begin anew. If you gotta freaking kick some people out of your party, then do it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Certain people don't belong in politics. I wouldn't even want them running a blockbuster video, and there are no blockbuster videos except for maybe one. I mean, they have no business anywhere. They're a threat and a danger to society. I mean, and they pick the pettiest things to complain about and nitpick about, and always want to point the finger at someone else. And it's just ridiculous. It's a time to be held accountable. And I think these midterm elections showed you that. You expected this red wave or this red tsunami, and it was more like a trickle. Yeah, you gained control of the House, barely. You lost ground in the Senate, lost ground with governorships. Biden actually had the best midterm of any president in quite some time. I mean, so the people have spoken. Your shenanigans or malarkey, as Biden likes to say, is being called out. People are holding you accountable, and it's about time. We had 4 years of Trump, and now he's trying to run again for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe to try and avoid going to jail. But it's time for him to be held accountable too. It's just enough is enough. It needs to stop. You got to do better. You're a bunch of grown adults acting like children, inciting hatred and fear and division in this country. And it's time to be held accountable, and it needs to stop. Well, just wanted to come on here and just be honest. Love to hear your thoughts and views. Happy holidays, everyone. Peace out.